Ow, we got a two-parter.
Mm-hmm.
That sure was a two-parter.
I didn't remember any of this.
That's always a great sign.
Right?
Oh boy. Hello, welcome to this week's episode. Jared now will watch Inuyasha. It is episode number 58. I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Ladium.
Hello, hello.
We are discussing season 3, episode number 3, or episode 57, entitled Fateful Night in Togenkyo, part 1.
Part un.
Part I. And yeah, we're going to go to Togenkyo. Have a little fun.
Get small.
Get small. We get this weird dream sequence of Kagome in school getting a perfect score on a test, and she's real excited about it, but then she wakes up and, oh, it's a dream, and now she's not happy with it. Very upset. She tells...
I was just like, why is the teacher like grading it standing right next to her? What is this? And then she's like, this isn't a dream. It's really happening. I was like, this isn't real.
That's how grading works now.
No.
And then they give you a flag of your test to wave around.
And your friends are like, good job, girlfriend.
Yep. So yeah, they all wake up and they go off. They're traveling. Kagome's like, I gotta go home for 3 days and study for this test. She does not go home for 3 days to study for this test.
She does not. And Inuyasha's like, what the heck's an exam? Why do you like exams so much?
She's like, well, it's an examination is what a test is. And he's still like, I don't know what that means, so I'm just going to not acknowledge it.
I was joking that he's just like, I don't know how to read, so it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. And then Song goes like, oh, by the way, I also have to leave for 3 days and go back to my village because my weapon's cracked and I need to get it fixed. And then she's like, oh, okay. Yeah, you can go. That's cool.
And we got a flashback to her, like, cutting that demon in half last time,
Yeah.
which was cool as heck.
And Kagome's like, wait, why are you so, like, willing to let her go? And everything. But then, like, he's like, whatever. And then we get to see our villain who's just sucking up people into its gourd.
Giving
and
him
then
the suck.
eating fruit.
That has human faces.
Yeah. And then Inuyasha's going to go cut down that tree. Because that's just what he's going to do. He's like, I'm just going to cut this tree down. It's going to be fine. Also, by the way, it's almost the new moon, so I'm going to transform back to a human. And that's going to suck. So I need to get this done real quick.
Yep.
And Kagome's like, oh, right, I forgot about that. Tee-hee.
Donk.
So Inuyasha gets up to the top of this cliff. He's going to cut down the tree, but then he sees the dude who's trying to protect the tree, Tokijin. And Inuyasha tries to slice him in the belly, and it just bounces off. Goes boing.
Boing.
And then he tries to do the wind scar, but that doesn't work. And then he gets sucked up into the gourd.
Yep.
And then de-transforms into a Who-Man.
Oh, man. After he tries to, like, Iron Reaver Soul Stealer,
yeah.
his claws on there.
He's like, and it just does nothing.
Nothing.
The rest of them eventually get up to the top after they try and float on Shippo and fail, and then they crash land into a house, and they see this little tiny village, and they're like, that's weird, there's a bunch of people in there, what's going on? And then they start shrinking as well, like Inuyasha did, because he shrunk and got into the gourd, and then they fall into the little village, and they're like, whoa, that's weird, what are y'all doing here? They're like, we are trying to become sages like Tokijin. And Moroku's like, no, that's not gonna happen.
Nope.
Tokijin has the Tetsaiga and is like, this sword's dumb, it's rusty, it doesn't do anything. Anyways, get this out of here.
I saw him do good stuff with it. Why can't I do anything good with it? Blech.
Blech. He finds the jewel shards that Kagome had because they fell out of her pocket and they didn't go with her. And he's like, cool jewel shards, put these in my belly.
In my belly button.
Yep.
Gross.
Inuyasha's still trying to find a way out, and the liquid's getting to him. He's like, this hurts. I hate feeling pain. I'm a human. This sucks. Wah.
As if he doesn't actually feel pain, like, when he's a demon, because he definitely does feel pain.
No, this is different, clearly.
Different pain.
Very different. Kagome and Shippo and Moroku are also still trying to find information. They find this samurai who's just lounging around. He's like, Yeah, this dude just like trains these up, and then he takes them out and makes some fertilizer for the tree, and then that's just how it goes. So we're kind of boned if we stay here.
It's real messed up.
Yep. Inuyasha's trying to break out with his sheath, and then he's like, "Oh wait, the sheath's reacting to the Tetsaiga. It's nearby. I can just summon the Tetsaiga to me."
Which I
And he
didn't
does
know was a ability, but I guess it's an ability.
apparently. He does that, and it just like floats over to him, and then stabs the gourd, and the dude's like, "Hey, what the heck? Sword, get out of here!" And then Inuyasha just falls out, and he's back to normal size. And he's like, "All right, now I'm gonna beat you up." And then Tokijin's like, "I have 3 shards in my belly. Now I'm going to turn into the Thing from the Fantastic Four,
Yep.
and I'm gonna belly flop you." And Inuyasha's first thing he thinks of is like, "Okay, I'm gonna do an anti-air and knock you out or punch you out of the air," and just fails miserably as he gets flattened and knocked out completely.
Because he's a person.
It's very dumb.
Very dumb. Like, buddy, what did you think was gonna happen there? What did you think?
He's like, "Oh, I'll just knock him out of the air. It'll be fine."
Yeah.
Splat.
Like, he literally just turned into the thing in front of you. Like, he's a rock man now.
Inuyasha does some
How do you
dumb
think this is gonna
things in
work?
these episodes.
Inuyasha, he's not the brightest of boys.
No, he is
He-
not.
He does his best, but he is not the brightest of boys.
No. Yeah, but that's kind of how we end this episode, where Kagome's just like, "I hope I'm not in a nightmare." No. Turns out you're in the real world now, and it's stinky.
Ooh. Wow, there's a lot of notes.
There are a lot of notes. You're right. I was about to say that. Let's talk about these notes real quick.
Okay.
This is the first episode that has a part number in its title, apparently.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
This is the third time Inuyasha transforms from a half demon to a human. In the manga version, this episode and the next one actually happened before the chapters of Enter Songo, the Demon Slayer episode. What does that mean?
So wait. They happened before Sango was introduced at all?
That doesn't... okay, hang on. I mean, it would make sense because they write out Songo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this was chapter 79 through 81 of the manga. Last episode was chapter 206 to 207, so yeah.
Wow.
This happens way before anything else happens. So yeah, I guess it makes sense why Songo's written out of this.
Sango, you gotta go.
Yeah. Also,
Wow.
Inuyasha doesn't use any of his like new abilities really.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, real wild.
Huh.
This is the first time Songo returns to her village since joining the group because they had to get her out of here essentially.
Get out of here.
Even though Inuyasha isn't touching Tetsaiga when Tokijin shrinks him, it stays in its fang form, I guess.
Okay.
Inuyasha learns that when he's in his human form, he can still use the sheath to summon the Tetsaiga. And it's unclear as to why some articles are unaffected by the shrinking and some are not. When Tokijin shrank Inuyasha, Tetsaiga remained unaffected and kept its true size, but the sheath did not. It could be that Tokijin did this intentionally, but that would explain the following point, which is when Kagome, Moroku, and Shippo began to shrink, the Shikon shards did not and remained outside the box garden. The reason this is at odds with the first point, that Tokijin was neither aware nor present when this happened, though it could be argued that the Shikon shards were immune because they are sacred objects. It stands to reason that Moroku's staff, prayer beads, sacred sutras, and the beads of subjugation around Inuyasha's neck should have also remained unaffected, though it is possible that Inuyasha's neck only becomes holy when Kagome activates it. Yeah, I mean, look, that's fair. Those are definitely plot holes. I think they're trying to say that like anything attached to you probably stays the same size as you, whereas like if it's not, you don't have like possession of it, it doesn't. So like
Kagome's backpack is on her,
and the shards fall out of her pocket when they're shrinking.
right?
I don't remember if Inuyasha had the Tetsaiga like when he was holding it when he was shrinking, so maybe that's just the reason. Like if it's not in your possession, that's the reason why it goes with you, and if you like it stays big. If you don't have like ownership of it, not ownership, but just like if you're not holding onto it or it's not on your body somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I could think of.
I got nothing, man.
But yeah. But that's going to do it for this episode. We will be back next week with the conclusion of this fateful night in Togenkyo.
Part 2.
And talk about how everything wraps up.
And some booba.
Booba. The booba zone is here.
Yep.
So yeah, we will discuss all of that next week. But for now, if you'd like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Seasonal Anime Checkup OVA. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Anladium, go to anladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup. You can buy our books, One Shiny Moment, A Critical Analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, and Hot Tubs and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. So join us next week as we see how everyone gets out of this shrunken situation.
Small.